Death has taken our beloved Larry Speyer. Our friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation, in their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For Larry's love that united us in life, in which death cannot sever, for his companionship that we shared along life's path, and which continues through the tenderness of memory, for the gifts of his heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness, and is now a precious remembrance for all these and more, we give our thanks to God. In this time of grief, we listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures that brings us the ever-new message of God's nearness. It tells us of our kinship with the Creator, in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. Adonai Rohi Lo Echsar Bino Deshe Yarbitzeni Amei Menuchot Amei Menuchot Yenaleini Nafshi Shovev Yishovev Yancheni B'magle Tzedek Yancheni B'magle Tzedek L'man Shemo Gam ki elech B'ketz ha'mavet Lo irara Ki ata imadi Shiftecha u'mishantecha Ema inachamuni Taharuch lefanai Shulchan neged tzorerai Dishanta Vashem Revaya Aktov Chesed Yirdifuni Koyemei Chayai Vishavti B'veit Adonai Leorech Yamim Adonai Rohi Lo Echsar Adonai Rohi Lo Echsar. Inside your pamphlet, you'll find the translation to the psalm I just chanted, Psalm 23. Please read along with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. In Ecclesiastes we read, For everything there is a season, a time for every experience under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to discard, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. I found a poem that I thought was perfect for Larry. It's called The Fallen Limb. A limb has fallen from the family tree. I keep hearing a voice that says, "Grieve not for me. Remember the best times, the laughter, the song, the good life I lived when I was strong. Continue my heritage. I'm counting on you. Keep smiling and surely the sun will shine through. My mind is at ease. My soul is at rest. Remembering all how I truly was blessed. Continue traditions, no matter how small. Go on with your life, don't worry about falls. I miss you all dearly, so keep up your chin until the day comes when we're together again." Let's take a moment now, a silent reflection, and remember Larry in our hearts. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, be acceptable in your sight. God, our rock and our Redeemer, God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. What's the definition of a Renaissance man? According to the dictionary, a Renaissance man is a person who has wide interests and is expert in several areas. It is a man who has acquired profound knowledge or proficiency in more than one field, a well-rounded individual gifted and skilled in many different areas. What is a Renaissance man? Larry Speyer was a Renaissance man. He was a man gifted with many talents who throughout his 84 years had a continuous desire to learn and to develop new skills. He was patient. He was gentle. He was wise. He was the younger brother to Blanche and her Marvin, may their memories be for a blessing, and to Connie and her William, may their memories be for a blessing. Blanche was like a mother figure for Larry, and Connie, a best friend. They were close siblings growing up and remained close as adults. He also shared a close relationship with his brother-in-law, Eddie, Maxine's brother. Larry considered his 3 brothers-in-law as brothers, not in-laws. Larry met his beloved Maxine when she was 15 and he was 16. It was a blind date. The story goes, while Maxine was attending a JYL meeting, a friend of Larry's spotted her and just knew she would be perfect for Larry. And she was. Although they attended different high schools and colleges, they dated for 9 years until Larry finished law school at John Marshall. Maxine was adamant about Larry finishing school before they married. She wanted to make sure that he received his law degree. While in law school, at the age of 18, Larry had appendicitis and had to miss a semester of school. He and his friend Dick Myers went into the Army for those 6 months and then became part of the reserves. His friend Dick was a musician and played in the Army band. Dick encouraged Larry, who played the trombone, to be part of the band too. And that was a great experience. When he returned and graduated from law school, Larry and Maxine got married. It had always been a dream for Larry to get a job with the FBI. He took the entrance exam and passed, and he and Maxine were ready to move to Quantico, Virginia. But, surprisingly, the school ended up shutting down temporarily for budgetary reasons. So, Larry took a job with a law firm in Harvey, Illinois, and he and Maxine lived in Riverdale. But he wanted to move north and live closer to his sisters and their families. So after 2 years, he and Maxine bought a house in Northbrook, and they lived in that same house, the house I was at yesterday, for over 50 years. It was in Northbrook that they had their son Michael and their daughter Stacy. Larry always had hobbies. He was a handyman, a gardener, a photographer. He did leather tooling and needlework like cool. He truly enjoyed building things, like the family's color television. I mean, who builds their own television? And he made one for his brother-in-law, Eddie, too. It was an all-tube color television, and the family enjoyed watching it for many years. Early in their marriage, Larry was a heavy smoker. No one knew of the dangers of cigarettes then, and Maxine said he really wanted to buy materials for a radio-control airplane and to make it from scratch. She thought it was too expensive of a project, but suggested maybe instead of buying cigarettes, he save that money for the airplane. So Larry drew up a contract because he was a lawyer, and he agreed to stop smoking cold turkey, and he did. And he got what he needed for the radio control airplane. He put it together, and Michael fondly remembers going to Sky Harbor with his dad to fly the plane, and field trips to Toledo, Ohio to buy and sell new parts for the plane. Larry joined the Blue Max Flying Club and made some wonderful friends there. Larry had a passion for photography. At 12, he worked at a camera store, and at 18, he was hired as a photographer for weddings. He finished his basement in Northbrook, making a playroom, a laundry room, and then jackhammered through a concrete wall to create a dark room. He did the project with his brother-in-law, Eddie, and they both developed hernias after that jackhammer episode. Larry retired from the law when he was 60, and he enjoyed a fabulous 22 years filled with hobbies and projects. He bought a scanner and then became a ham operator and learned Morse code. He took photography classes, developed his own photos in his darkroom, matted and framed them himself. I saw his photos firsthand yesterday when I was with the family. He left a part of himself on their Northbrook home walls. He loved to garden. Gardening in his backyard was his pride and joy. He was president of the Men's Garden Club at the Senior Center and even grew his own grapes to make homemade wine. Stacy said the wine wasn't so good, but the grapes were delicious. Larry was a gifted mathematician. He enjoyed using his high math skills in Las Vegas, gambling at the craps table. It was like a science for him. He could count cards, analyze the odds, and almost always come out a winner. He was disciplined. He set a goal to win a certain amount, and when he did, he left the table. He was a wonderful storyteller. His children adored him. Yesterday, when I met with the family, both Michael and Stacy described him through laughter and tears as their superhero. He was a father who was open-minded, supportive, and a person with whom they shared some extraordinary experiences. Weekend father-son trips, a father-daughter cross-country driving trip. He cheered his children on and respected and took pride in their many talents. He studied the art Stacy loved, and he proudly displayed her work in their home. Michael inherited his father's passion for technology. When Larry became ill, Michael moved back home to help Maxine with his father's care. Larry and Maxine shared wedded bliss for 59 years. They had a deep love and undying respect for each other. Michael and Stacy don't remember ever hearing raised voices or arguments between their parents. Maxine supported and encouraged Larry's dreams, his goals, his hobbies. As Maxine shared memories of Larry with me yesterday, she had a gentle smile on her face, and although she teared up a few times, it was clear to see they shared a wonderful life together. Larry was the epitome of a Renaissance man, always enthusiastic about learning new skills, creating something new, be it gardening, putting together a radio control airplane, winning in Las Vegas, building a television for the family, taking photographs and framing them himself. He was a devoted brother, friend, a nurturing father, and a loving husband. Larry Speyer touched the lives and hearts of so many, and he will be greatly missed. And in closing, another poem. God saw you getting tired, and a cure was not to be. So God put God's arms around you and whispered, "Come to me." With tearful eyes, we watched you and saw you pass away. Although we loved you dearly, we could not make you stay. A golden heart stopped breathing, hard-working hands at rest. God broke our hearts to prove to us God only takes the best. Zichrono livracha. May the memory of Larry Speyer always be for a blessing. And let us say, Amen. And now please, if you are able, rise for the memorial prayer. El Mali Rachamim. El Mali Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hamsei Menucha Nechana, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, Im Kedoshim Utorim, Kizahar Haraki Hamazirim, Et Nishmat Ra'enu Shahalach Le'olamu, Bal HaRachamim, Yastirehu Beseker Kenafav Le'olamim, Vitzror Bitzror HaChaim Et Nishmato, Adonai Hu, Nachalato V'yanuach V'shalom Amishkavo V'nomar, Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Larry Speyer, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence. Let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. And now please join with me the ancient words of the Kaddish, a prayer which joins us with generations from the past, proclaiming the greatness of God and praising life. It can be found on the back of your pamphlet if you need it. Yikadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach yirteh v'yanlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam l'olmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei kudisha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlam araba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. May God grant peace to those who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us. And let us all say, Amen. You may be seated.
Hold this like, just hold it like this.
Right now the casket's going to be lowered and the vault lid will be placed on and everyone will have an opportunity to put some earth in the grave. after which time the family will be returning to Max and Benny's in Northbrook. The information's on the service folders we handed out. We want to mention that they get the live stream started and we had 16 devices, so there's probably another 20 or so people that are doing it.
With this again.
as we pull the blanket over a young child and tuck him in before he goes to sleep at night, it's now time to cover Larry and wish him a peaceful rest. The act of helping to bury the deceased is the ultimate act of Gemilut Chasadim, one of the most significant acts of love and compassion that we can perform. For we're doing for Larry what he can no longer do for himself. We're helping to send him off to his eternal rest. It is traditional to shovel 3 shovels full of dirt over the grave. The reason for the number 3 or more is to show purposefulness. The act of shoveling earth over the grave should not be an impulsive gesture, but one of determination and intent. After you're finished shoveling, please put the shovel back and the mound can take it on their own and complete the mitzvah. We'd like to first invite Maxine and Michael and Stacy. How's Linda doing?
She's doing fine, driving me crazy. Just had one, 6 weeks ago.
Oh.
42 years old.
I'm gonna just stop the live stream. If you want to thank the people that were here, there's still 12.
Well, thanks everyone for attending. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're saying goodbye to the people that